Что? Я красиво.
This is Leonid Grazer, who is currently facing charges for murder in a Moscow court in Russia. The 18-year-old teenager confessed to the murder of his 21-year-old sister, Ariada Korol, after he was detained for 2 months. Korol was found naked with multiple stab wounds in the hallway of an apartment block where she shared a flat with her brother. The Russian teen claimed that Satan made him kill his sister. According to the report, Grazer undressed after killing Korol and drew demonic symbols with his sister's blood before the police arrived. During questioning, Grazer didn't show any sign of remorse, but instead, he responded with smiles.
Зачем так с сестрой расправились?
Grazer confidently asserted that he killed his sister to get rid of his doubt.
Он что, должен зарезать ее и убить?
Нет, избавиться от сомнений.
От каких сомнений?
Себе.
The police found drugs in the teen's house, which could also be the cause of Grazer's actions. However, the 18-year-old claimed he was aware of his actions.
Зачем вы так с ней расправились?
Потому что я должен. Себе должен. Я должен так себе. Я осознанно это сделал.
In Sherbinski District Court in Moscow, Grazer was camped in a glass cage to prevent him from trying anything funny, but the teen had other plans.
Не лезь, не надо.
Куда ты едешь? Сел.
Grazer's first attempt didn't work out as planned, but he was quick to find an alternative route.
Слышь, что говорю?
Я скажу, что
The teen managed to force himself through the roof of the glass cage and proceeded to struggle through the ceilings of the courtroom.
Что? Я красиво.
The officers with him took prompt action to stop the defendant and struggled with him.
Держу. Да, сравните. Сравните.
спасибо тебе.
Держите.
Eventually, more officers arrived at the scene and tasered the 18-year-old teen.
Саня, лезьте туда. Давай,
Помогите! Помогите мне! Помогите мне!
Поможем.
Помогите мне! Дайте мне руку! Дайте руку! Дайте руку! Дайте мне руку! Пускайте, говорю!
Возьми, бля.
Куда нажать? Дайте руку!
Сейчас, я тебе дам руку. Да.
Блядь, меня...
Спусти.
Finally, Grazer gave up and pleaded with the officers to let him down.
Ко мне, бля.
А, все!
Сука,
Все, я спускаюсь!
я тебе дам сейчас.
Я спускаюсь! Быстро, блядь! А где он залазит?
Да он сверху пролез через это.
Ты что,
Это видно, на
дурак?
Открывайте, зайдите в клетку, блядь. Потом опять здесь держите, вот здесь. Ходи сюда. Ходи сюда. Ходи сюда, одевай. Штаны одевай. Да, так.
After the failed attempt, the officers cuffed Grazer to prevent him from executing other plans he might have. In 2020, a judge sentenced Grazer to mandatory psychiatric medical treatment, and his punishment was reviewed every 6 months during his medical examination. Grazer's attempt to escape through the ceiling was a failure, but what happens when a suspect jumps from the second floor of the courthouse? And this takes us to the Meigs County Courthouse. This is Rashad Hawkins, who is facing trial for failure to pay child support. After Hawkins was sentenced, he was not willing to serve the jail time, so he found his way out of the courtroom before he could be detained. The convict took off to jump from the second floor and landed in the reception of the building. Hawkins got up quickly and ran out through the exit. A few moments later, court officials and deputies were all over the building and wondered what exactly was going on. Little did they know that a convict was on the run and would be nowhere to be found for a couple of weeks. On May 30th, 2021, 3 weeks after the escape, Hawkins was caught trespassing on a residential backyard in Harrodsburg. Just like he managed to escape in court, he struggled with the officers of the Harrodsburg Police Department before he was eventually apprehended. The officers later discovered that Hawkins was wanted in Tennessee after he was arrested. In addition to his charges in Tennessee, he was charged with third-degree criminal trespassing, first-degree evading police on foot, third-degree assault on a police officer, resisting arrest, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Hawkins' escape left deputies wandering around the court hallway, but what happens when a deputy breaks his ribs in pursuit of a convict? Just like the case of 34-year-old Nicholas Garrison, who was just sentenced to 6 months in jail for possession of meth charge in Greenfield, Ohio. After getting the sentence, the bailiffs were set to put Garrison in handcuffs at the back of the Highland County Courthouse before the 34-year-old made a smart move. As one of the bailiffs detaining Garrison turned away for a moment, he decided to take the easy way out. Garrison took off and ran through the courtroom all the way to the exit. The door leads to a set of stairs, so immediately Garrison bursts out of the courtroom. He finds his way down the stairs. The bailiff after him dived headfirst over the stair rail as he tried to grab the running convict, but Garrison managed to slip away. Garrison was able to get outside of the courthouse and went into hiding for days. 4 days later, the sheriffs received tips which led them to a motel in Clinton County. The 34-year-old was found at the hotel and taken into custody. He got additional charges of 1 count of escape, a third-degree felony, and 1 count of assault on a peace officer. Garrison was sentenced to an additional 6 years in prison in the same courtroom. As for the bailiff who tried to stop Garrison, he broke 4 ribs and suffered a minor concussion when he landed on the stairs. While Garrison might have fled from the courtroom due to fear of serving his jail time, the defendant in the next case slipped away from the deputy before entering the courthouse. This is Joel Sanchez Delgado, who was escorted in a wheelchair to the Pulaski County Courthouse in Little Rock, Arkansas. 41-year-old Delgado is facing charges of burglary and possession of firearms. The convict reportedly told the police that he was injured and could not move his legs, which explains why he is being transported in a wheelchair.
Fake illness or fake injury, that was most likely what happened.
As Delgado was being wheeled into the courthouse, he distracted the deputy by complaining that he had lost his shoe.
What'd you say, OJ? My shoe. Hey, you see a shoe back there? Where is it?
As the officer bent down to help him with his shoe, Delgado did the unexpected. Delgado, who claimed he couldn't walk with his legs, jumped out of the wheelchair and made a run for it. The officer engaged in a foot pursuit after the 41-year-old, but he seems to have gone far.
Oh, I'm gonna catch you, baby. I'm finna shoot your bitch ass.
During the pursuit, the deputy couldn't call for backups because he had no radio on him. He had to find an alternative.
Hey, can you call the police for me? Call the police for me. Hey, call the police. Call the police. What way it go? Hey, Hook. The wheelchair dude got up and ran. Yeah. I couldn't catch his ass. And my radio was in the mother. I had my camera on though. He jumped the rail. It's on my camera, bro. Oh, what's that, man?
Unfortunately, the deputy was unable to catch up with him. Delgado was eventually caught 7 miles away from the court several hours later. He claimed he had an injury again and he couldn't walk. Delgado was taken away in an ambulance and was charged with felony escape in addition to his previous charges. It took the efforts of several deputies to apprehend Delgado, but what happens when a judge has to pursue evading defendants? Just like the case of Tanner Jacobson and Cody Howard, who are currently in court for driving on suspended licenses. The two defendants were handcuffed and dressed in prison uniforms, waiting for their sentences. As Judge Buzzard was about to read their sentence, Jacobson and Howard did what left everyone in disbelief. The two inmates bolted out of the courtroom with their handcuffs. However, Judge Buzzard also took immediate action and went after them. While the two were on the run outside the courtroom, Howard slipped and fell due to his uncomfortable shoes. The district judge followed Howard and Jacobson down the multiple flights of stairs toward the emergency exit. However, only one of the two was able to make it outside the court. Just when Howard was about to find his way through the door, the judge caught up with him. Jacobson made it outside, but he stopped a few blocks away and surrendered to the police.
I only get like 4 blocks and then I stopped. I just stopped on my own. I'm like, what am I doing right now?
One would think the two already had the escape plan before entering the court, but their confession during an interview says otherwise.
It was just a split-second decision. I don't even know why I did it. I would be out of here if I wouldn't have ran.
I didn't try to escape to get out. I tried to escape to get well, and I tried to do what I could, do what I could do to get my drug addiction.
The two inmates were initially sentenced to 30 days in jail, however. Their escape earned them a longer time in jail. Jacobson was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in prison for additional charges of a single count of second-degree escape. Howard's, on the other hand, was sentenced to 36.75 months behind bars on the charges of second-degree escape, first-degree trafficking in stolen property, and third-degree theft.